Dear friends, this is episode number 27 of the Limitation Act. In the last two episodes, we have considered section 14 in detail. I hope that the viewers have fully comprehended the scope of section 14. Now, I will cite a large number of decisions of the Supreme Court and some of the High Courts, particularly Kerala High Court, on certain points which will throw light in the matter of interpretation of section 14. Please note the decisions. It may be helpful to you. If you read all these decisions, that is enough. It is not necessary to read the entire all decisions on that point. Important decisions I have noted. And I will deal with those decisions. First is 2004 3 SEC 458 Union of India and others versus West Coast Paper Mills Limited and another. Please read paragraph 14, a short paragraph I will read for your convenience. However, section 14 of the Limitation Act is wide in its application, inasmuch as it is not confined in its applicability only to cases of defect of jurisdiction, but it is applicable also to cases where prior proceedings have failed on account of other causes of a like nature. The expression other causes of a like nature came up for consideration of this court in Roshanlal Kuthalia versus R.B. Mohan Singh Oberoi, 1975 4 SEC 628, and it was held that section 14 of the Limitation Act is wide enough to cover such cases where the defects are not merely jurisdictional strictly so called, but others more or less neighbors to such deficiencies. Any circumstance, legal or factual, which inhibits entertainment or consideration by the court of the dispute on the merits comes within the scope of the section, and a liberal touch must inform the interpretation of the Limitation Act, which deprives the remedy of one who has a right. See, very beautifully explained. That is 75 4 KLT, 74 4 SEC was referred to, and the Supreme Court, see, very clearly said what is the scope of section 14. Now, other decisions. 2019 10 SEC 408, 3 judges, State of Manipur and others versus Koting Koting Lamkang Lamkang Lamkang. There the facts are, condonation was sought by the appellants with the projection that they made a bona fide mistake in preferring the appeal against the impugned order and the decree dated so and so before the wrong forum, that is the district judge, instead of some other court. And section 14 was invoked. There was delay of 44 days. And in moving before the wrong court, that period which was pending before the wrong court was 44 days. And the Supreme Court held interest of justice would be better served if the appellant's challenge to the decree of the trial court is allowed to be examined on merit by the first appellate court. On facts, the delay in filing the appeal was condoned with the imposition of cost of 50,000 rupees. Judgment by Justice Hrishikesh Roy. Now, 2016 1 KLT 168, same as 2016 1 KHC 14, Abdul Nasser AM versus Kerala State Election Commission. The question involved was whether Section 14 can be invoked to exclude the period of pendency of a writ petition for filing an election petition. Period spent for filing a writ petition in appropriate cases can be excluded for the purpose of filing of a suit. That is well settled. In the course of time we will come across with those decisions. But this is election petition. Election law is different. The right to challenge, in paragraph 8 it is said, the right to challenge an election is a special right created by the statute, and the same has necessarily to conform to the statutory requirements prescribed therein. And the scheme of the act and the nature of the remedy provided are such that the legislature intended it to be a complete code, and the provisions of the Limitation Act are necessarily excluded. The benefits conferred under Section 14 of the Limitation Act cannot be called in aid to supplement the provisions of the Act which was considered. The Supreme Court decisions are also quoted, and while referring to AIR 1974 Supreme Court 480, Hukumdev Narayan Yadav, well accepted, well celebrated case. Hukumdev Narayan Yadav versus Lalit Narayan Mishra, L.N. Mishra, 74 Supreme Court 480. It is well settled that amendments to a petition in a civil proceeding and the addition of parties to such a proceeding are generally possible, subject to the law of limitation. But an election petition stands on a different footing. The trial of such a petition and the powers of the court in respect thereof are all circumscribed by the Act. The Indian Limitation Act of 1963 is an act to consolidate and amend the law of limitation to suits and other proceedings, and for purposes connected therewith. And what was considered was the Scope of Representation of People Act, and it was held that that Act, Representation of People Act, is a complete and self-contained code which does not admit of the introduction of the principles of the provisions of law contained in the Indian Limitation Act. That was the view taken in the Supreme Court decisions which are referred to therein: 69 Supreme Court AIR 872, AIR 74 Supreme Court 480 and other decisions. So election is different. There is one case, Murali Manohar Joshi's case, where Section 4 was, while dealing with Section 4 I cited that decision, Manohar Joshi's decision. 4 was, the benefit of the principles of Section 4 were introduced, and the General Clause Act was applied, taking into account the principles of Section 4. 2000 next is 2016 2 Kerala High Court cases, KHC 401, a division bench, Hindustan Hardware Stores and others versus V. Umesh Kamath and another. Arbitration and Conciliation Act. Question was exclusion of time in bona fide proceeding in a court without jurisdiction. Relying on Consolidated Engineering Enterprises versus Principal Secretary, a Supreme Court judgment. And it was held, the principles were laid down. If proceedings were adopted with a willful intent to protract the liability, and then section 14 cannot be invoked. That is a principle set there. Another decision, 2015 Kerala High Court cases 495, Thangappan KN and others versus Tribunal for Local Self-Government Institutions. What was held is that section 14 of the Limitation Act is not applicable to appeals. It does not refer to appeals. So it was held that section 14 is not applicable to appeals. And the recommendation of it is by Justice Seshadri Naidu, a well-written judgment. But personally speaking, I do not agree with that view. I will also cite at least two decisions on that point, where Supreme Court as well as the Kerala High Court has taken a view that the principles can be applied. Principles can be applied while considering delayed appeal, while considering the scope of section 5, while considering whether section 5 of the Limitation Act can be invoked. They are not mutually exclusive, section 5 and 14. The recommendation of the Law Commission to include appeals also in the fold of section 14 of the Limitation Act has not received statutory approval. It is for the legislature to reform and reframe the law. Please see paragraph 51, 57, 58 and 59 and the whole of the judgment. It is worth reading. Of course, the ultimate view which the learned judge has taken, I personally do not agree with that view, because I am of the view that the principles should be applied while considering the delay in filing the appeal. Then 2015 7 SEC and the earlier decision I cited, Justice Seshadri Naidu, see how the learned judge has considered the various points. See how many decisions have been referred to, principles have been referred to, books have been referred to. We can't imagine. See, he is a reservoir of information and knowledge. So it is worth reading that decision. Read it. I said that I do not agree with that view. That is a different thing, but I got utmost respect towards that decision, that learned judge. 2015 7 SEC. 2015 7 SEC 5858. MP Steel Corporation versus Commissioner of Central Excise. I have cited it for some other purpose. Various points have been considered. See, Mukri Gopalan, I refer to that while dealing with section 5 and all those things. MP Steel Corporation. And it was held that paragraph 14, court and civil proceedings, even though provisions of section 14 apply only to courts proper, that is, courts as understood in the strict sense of being part of the judicial branch of the state. But principles underlying section 14 which advance cause of justice apply to appeals filed before quasi-judicial tribunal, such as that under Section 128 of the Customs Act. Section 128 of the Customs Act is not a complete code by itself, so as to exclude the operation of Section 14 of the Limitation Act. The principles can be applied. That is what the Supreme Court in MP Steele said. Paragraph 14. Next is, that is 2 judges. Judgment by Justice Rohington Nariman. 2008 7 SEC. 2008 7 SEC 169. 3 judges. Consolidated Engineering Enterprises and another. Consolidated Engineering Enterprises and another. Versus Principal Secretary Irrigation Department and others. That comes under the Arbitration and Conciliation Act and Section 14. It was held that Section 14 is not excluded. Benefit of the exclusion of time under Section 14 is available where application under Section 34(3) is pursued, 34(3) of the Arbitration Act, in a court without jurisdiction. Proviso to Section 34(3) being a specific legislation excludes applicability of general provisions contained in Section 5 of the Limitation Act. Court therefore has no discretion to extend the limitation period beyond 30 days prescribed in proviso to Section 34(3), even if sufficient cause were shown for it. Policy underlying Section 14 and the conditions precedent. It was held that Section 14 recognizes bona fide mistake in selecting a wrong forum. Equity underlying Section 14 should be applied to its fullest extent. Paragraph 11, a few sentences from paragraph 11, 12 and 14. 12 I will read. However, merely because it is held that Section 5 of the Limitation Act is not applicable to an application filed under Section 34 of the Act for setting aside an award, one need not conclude that provisions of Section 14 of the Limitation Act would also be not applicable to an application submitted under Section 34 of the Act of 1996, Arbitration and Conciliation Act. It was held that Section 5 of the Limitation Act is not applicable because a period is fixed there, provided there, and then a further period of 30 days is provided. Beyond that, there is no question of any condonation of delay. But Supreme Court says that does not mean that Section 14 is excluded. The ingredients of Section 14 are there. 1. Both the prior and subsequent proceedings are civil proceedings prosecuted by the same party. 2. The prior proceeding has been prosecuted with due diligence and in good faith. 3. The failure of the prior proceeding was due to a defect of jurisdiction or other cause of a like nature. 4. The earlier proceeding and the later proceeding must relate to the same matter in issue. And 5. Both the proceedings are in a court. The policy of the section is to afford protection to a litigant against the bar of limitation. When he institutes a proceeding which by reason of some technical defect cannot be decided on merits, that is a point. Proper approach should be made, liberal approach should be made. It will be well to remember in mind that an element of mistake is inherent in the invocation of Section 14. To err is human. Because of that error, he should not be sent out of court. He should not be denied his right. That is why these provisions are there. In fact, section is intended to provide relief against the bar of limitation in case of mistaken remedy or selection of a wrong forum. This is the point. See, bona fides with due diligence, everything must be there. If it is in one decision we have seen, it is filed in a wrong forum only to protract the proceeding. Court will put its foot down and say no, we will not. But a bona fide mistakes are committed by litigants, lawyers, courts. Nobody is above mistakes. In fact, the section is intended to provide relief against the bar of limitation in cases of mistaken remedy or selection of a wrong forum. Upon the words used in the section, it is not possible to sustain the interpretation that the principle underlying the section, namely the bar of limitation, should not affect a person honestly doing his best to get his case tried on merits, but failing because the court is unable to give him such a trial. That would not be applicable to an application filed under Section 34 of Act of 1996. The principle is clearly applicable not only to case in which a litigant brings his application in the court, that is, a court having no jurisdiction to entertain it, but also where he brings the suit or the application in a wrong court in consequence of bona fide mistake or law or defect of procedure. Similar circumstances, State of Goa versus Western Builders, 2006, 6 SCC 239. 2006, 6 SCC 239 has been referred to. Next is 2014, 3 Kerala Law Times 597. Same as 2014 KHC Kerala High Court cases 482. Parameswaran Pillai and another versus State of Kerala and others. That was Land Acquisition Act. Reference application under Section 18 was dismissed on the ground of limitation. Writ petition was also dismissed. Later, an application under Section 28A was filed, but it was rejected by the district collector on the ground that it was not filed within 3 months from the date of last award. Whether the applicants are entitled to exclude the time spent for prosecuting reference under Section 18 and subsequent writ petition was the question. It was held that there is no ground to apply Section 14 of the Act, and the conditions to be satisfied to invoke Section 14 are enumerated there again. Next is 2015 12 SCC 2015 12 SCC 695. Neeraj Janji JHANJI Janji versus Commissioner of Customs and Central Excise. That was a writ petition filed before the Delhi High Court against the order passed by the Commissioner of Customs, Kanpur. And it was held that Section 14 cannot be invoked to exclude that period during which the writ petition was pending in the Delhi High Court, on the ground that the party well knew that the Delhi High Court has no territorial jurisdiction in the matter. Filing of the writ petition and for that appeal before the Delhi High Court was not at all bona fide. Wrong forum, I agreed. But at the same time, with due diligence and bona fides verdict. 2 places it is said. time during which the plaintiff has been prosecuting with due diligence, another civil proceeding. And where the proceeding relates to the same matter and issue and prosecuted in good faith in a court. So these two things, one is due diligence, another is good faith. And the Limitation Act defines good faith in section 2H. Nothing shall be deemed to be done in good faith which is not done with due care and attention. Good faith, I say I am doing it with all good faith, I believe. No. If it is not done with due care and attention. So all these conditions must be satisfied. It is not sufficient to say that section 14 should be liberally interpreted. True, it is there. But a mana fide action or a dubious action or with intent to circumvent the proceedings or to oppress the opposite party or to say, to achieve certain objects which are not lawful. Those are all not recognized on the ground that there was a bona fide mistake and there was a defect of jurisdiction or other cause of a like nature that is not available. Next is (2014) KHC 3050 Gangadharan PK and others versus Gangadharan PK and others versus Vadlikunnam MHI etc. Same principles. What are the ingredients there? So we will deal with it in the next episode. Thank you.